Imagine being exactly zero point 0.1 seconds late with a delivery, and immediately getting pinned against the wall by the 4 absolute Yanderes of Metro Avalon for some insane drills. Your long-lost sister is not only sniffing your boxer shorts like they are some premium oxygen mask, inhaling frantically, but your childhood best friend has secretly gone and surgically attached a micro GPS tracker directly onto your body. And that socially awkward pop star is busy testing her grip strength on your throat while screaming her eternal love. Even the emotionless Snow Tribe girl is trying to taste your blood while whispering that you smell absolutely delicious. Let us backtrack to how this madness actually started. You just finished your deliveries and opened your door, only for your entire brain to completely freeze. The living room lights are shining bright, but the table has been flipped completely upside down on the floor. A vase is shattered into a million pieces, and the whole house looks like a gang of angry raccoons raided it. You stare at this disaster, wondering if you got robbed. Furrowing your brows, you call out, "Dad, are you okay?" You quickly push open your father's bedroom door, only to find clothes scattered all over the floor like confetti. Every single drawer has been yanked wide open, and the suitcase that belonged next to his desk is gone. Everything points to one undeniable truth. Your dad packed up his things and ran off in a state of absolute panic. What on earth is going on? It is pouring rain outside, so why did your old man suddenly run off like this? Did he make enemies with the wrong people? Maybe some brutal loan sharks have already come knocking at your door. Your heart sinks instantly, and a deeply terrifying feeling suddenly washes over your entire body. Right then, your phone chimed with a loud ding. You look down, and a rapid-fire flood of text starts filling the screen. Your dad says he ran into some trouble and is leaving town, so he won't be back for quite some time. When classes start, just make your way to Metro Avalon all on your own. He warns you never to mention his name to anyone once you arrive, and definitely do not try to contact him under any circumstances. Whether your old man survives or not is completely up to you now. Do not worry about him, and once all this heat blows over, you will meet again. He tells you to survive and avoid going home. But wait, you are already standing inside your own apartment. You quickly type a response, but a flashing red exclamation mark pops up. Your own father has already blocked your number completely. You look up from your phone screen in total disbelief. Behind you, the front door is still hanging wide open. The corridor outside is pitch black and dead silent. Talk about a brutal betrayal. Your dad literally threw you straight to the wolves. All right, Grudge officially noted. Without wasting another second, you turn around and walk straight back out into the dark hallway. Escaping is your absolute top priority right now. But suddenly, a chaotic burst of footsteps starts echoing up from the stairwell. It is clearly not just one person. Those hurried steps are moving extremely fast. This is definitely not some friendly neighbor coming to visit. You freeze dead in your tracks. Cold sweat mixes with rainwater, soaking through your clothes. It is over. The bad guys have actually found your apartment. You glance desperately toward the bedroom closet, but hiding in there is a terrible plan that will definitely get you caught. You grit your teeth, pull up your hood, zip your bright yellow delivery jacket right up to your chin, and step out towards the stairwell with your head down. The hallway motion lights click on as you walk. You keep your head down and grab your phone, pretending to be a totally normal delivery driver, casually checking your screen, though you are carefully watching the stairs out of the corner of your eye. Within seconds, a group of massive men wearing black suits and dark sunglasses rounds the corner directly into view. Your heart hammers against your ribs, but you keep your cool, staring intently down at your glowing phone screen. The lead guard blocks your path, calling out to hold on for just a quick second. Sweat starts beads on your forehead, but you keep your voice level as you ask what they want. He pulls out a photo, using the dim hallway light to match it against your face, and says it is nothing. He asks which room you just delivered to, and you instantly lie, saying it was Mrs. Higgins on the top floor. The guard frowns, asking how you know her last name. You calmly tell him it was written right on the order ticket. You do not even blink. He then turns the photo around and shoves it directly under your nose, asking if you have seen this man. You take a quick glance. The young guy in that picture is undeniably your dad, looking just like you. 10,000 alpacas stampede wildly through your head, but you keep your cool. Sorry, never seen him. If that is all, I must run. My next delivery is about to expire. The guard nods slowly and keeps heading straight up the stairs. Boss, that delivery guy looks suspiciously like the guy in the picture. One of the lackeys leaned in and whispered to the leader. The leader shook his head, explaining that this photo was a relic the matriarch left behind 10 years ago. That delivery kid is way too young, so there is zero chance he is Lord Silas. Chatting away, they aggressively breached your apartment. And right here, watch their faces fall. They realize they are a step too late. Lord Silas might have already taken the young master and fled. They ripped the house completely apart, practically digging to the earth's core, but came up empty-handed. Just then, a lazy, sultry female voice crackled through their earpieces. How did it go? the matriarch asked. Did you tie him up and bring him over? The lord took the young master and ran. The man in black reported with absolute severity, saying, Sarah, my dear, looks like I won the bet this time. Down at the entrance of the residential complex, inside a long, pitch-black luxury sedan, a middle-aged woman in an elegant black evening gown laughed mockingly. Sitting right next to her was a young girl dressed in a dark Gothic Lolita outfit. The young girl anxiously pressed herself against the glass, wiping away the fog to peer out at the main gate. In the murky night, she only caught a split-second glimpse of a yellow silhouette running away, completely failing to see his face. This is totally unacceptable. I must go to brother's house. The young girl violently yanked the car door open and charged out. Her driver scrambled out with an umbrella, desperately trying to catch up. Talk about being impatient, the woman muttered, sitting completely alone in the back seat before pulling a crumpled photo from the neckline of her dress. The photo showed Silas Vane himself, caught right in the middle of taking a shower. She whispered to herself that they agreed she would find her darling once she took over the family empire and wiped out all opposition. Why do you not want to see me? She wondered, resting her chin on her hand with a deeply obsessed, tender smile. But she does not mind. Honestly, who doesn't love a wild game of hide and seek? Fine, but if she catches him, her eyes slowly glow with a terrifying crimson hue, promising some seriously brutal punishment. Asking why she came up there, the suits in black stared at Sarah in absolute confusion the second she stepped inside. Where is brother's room? Pointing to the locked door next to them, the lead guard guessed it was that one, ordering his men to breach it on her command. One burly suit took a couple steps back and literally kicked the entire door right off its hinges. Report back to my mother, she ordered, and the men quickly understood. As the heavy guards left, the driver stayed to watch the door, leaving Sarah completely alone inside the empty room. Smiling wildly, she literally dive-bombed right onto the mattress, wrapping her arms tightly around his pillow and burying her face deep into the fabric. She took a massive, deep sniff, totally terrified that his lingering scent might somehow fade away. A completely new scent. He smells so different now. Still, Sarah absolutely adores it, claiming she loves her brother more than anyone, her eyes glazed over with pure, intoxicating bliss. Why did he not come meet her? Especially since Mom texted Dad that they were on their way to get him. Pouting in frustration, she wondered if their dad had kept the whole visit a complete secret from her brother. He must be playing a game of hide and seek, but she will definitely hunt him down. Her mind is spinning with crazy plans to find him, go places together, and literally tie him up. Yeah, talk about some seriously unholy thoughts. Reluctantly, Sarah crawled out of his bed. She flings the wardrobe wide open, grabs every last piece of clothing, and clamps them tight against her chest. Then she snatches her pillow by the corner with her free hand and stomps out, making her chauffeur wonder if she is actually robbing the place. He stands there completely shocked, but when she snaps it is none of his business. He nervously asks if she needs help carrying it all. Sarah just glares. Pure death. He instantly shuts his mouth and raises the umbrella without another word, while the rain pours down like a crazy apocalyptic waterfall. Meanwhile, you run like a lunatic through the storm, finally spotting a tiny shop pretty far from your neighborhood to hide inside. Once you are sure you lost those men in black, you finally let out a big sigh of relief. The shop owner looks at you soaking wet from head to toe like you are some creepy ghost, before cautiously asking if you plan on actually buying anything. You give a pretty awkward smile, explaining you are just hiding from the storm. You promise to leave in just a second, begging him not to be like that. But before you can even finish, the door slams shut with a loud bang. You get shoved straight out the door, lose your footing, and crash spectacularly into a massive muddy puddle. Begging him to wait and promising you will leave in a minute, you press your face against the glass with puppy dog eyes. Saying you already scared off all his paying customers, the shop owner tosses a cheap plastic umbrella at you. Telling you to just go home, he says the umbrella is free. You sigh dramatically, catch it, and unlock your phone. You check your balance. Despair. You grit your teeth. You scan his code, forcefully pay, and hear the successful ding. Your golden rule is to never accept free handouts. This proud move turns your empty wallet into a desert. Seriously, what a terrible time to protect your ego. All your hard-earned cash went to your dad, who acts as your self-appointed finance minister. And the brilliant result? He ran off with every single cent, leaving you broke. This last $10 was literally your entire net worth. You curse the old man. You will never forgive him. Shivering miserably under a bridge, you pull out your phone and send a desperate text to your landlord. Contact, are you there? Your bro is in serious trouble here, and officially homeless. Any chance I can rent a room from you for a while? I will pay the normal market rate. I might need to owe you at first, but I will work to pay you back. She replies to wait because she is on her way, but she is not actually your landlord. It is your childhood best friend, Clara Vance, who happens to own a bunch of prime real estate around town. Her parents do not live in Rivertown, so she survives solely by collecting rent money. Hence the glorious nickname, Suddenly, a stunning blonde girl steps out of a car that just pulled up. A fluffy pink blanket is held tight in her arms. She scans the area anxiously, spots you shivering under the bridge, runs right over, and wraps the warm blanket around you. Halen, who is basically turning into a human popsicle, snuggles into the fabric and finally feels a bit of true warmth return. Looking up into her beautiful eyes, you offer a strained, awkward laugh, saying you almost froze to death. I owe you my life now. If you ever need a favor down the road, just say the word. I will climb mountains in crossfire for you. She tells you that is quite enough drama. Cutting you off quickly, her eyes fill with deep worry as she looks at you. She grabs your hand, saying let's go. She wants you to come to her home, which completely shocks you since you expected a random rental unit. Crash at my place tonight, she says, and we will find you a rental tomorrow. Leaving absolutely zero room for negotiation, she literally drags you into the taxi, turns her head, and demands to know what exactly happened. You start to open your mouth to speak, but realize telling her is a terrible idea. If the dangerous guys hunting down your father find out about her, dragging her into this would be a disaster. You cannot put her in danger. No way. She is just a weak, defenseless girl who can barely protect herself. Expertly dodging her direct gaze, you quickly make up an excuse about being violently evicted tonight over massive unpaid rent. She narrows her eyes suspiciously, pointing out she has been begging you to move in with her for ages. Why did you keep refusing when she was not even going to charge you rent, yet you still complained? She whips her head away, pouts, and aggressively acts like she is totally mad at you. Even if you starve, you will never leech off your best friend. That is your ultimate line. You declare this with absolute seriousness, which only makes her burst out laughing as she gives you a sly grin. She asks how exactly you plan on paying her back for saving your life tonight. Pondering for a moment, you shake your head and tell her to just name whatever she wants within your physical limits. She gives you a loaded look. Seriously, how did you completely miss that obvious hint? After all, what kind of bad thoughts could your bro have? At worst, she will make you work like a slave. It was the exact same story back when you borrowed cash from her. Staring out the rain-slicked window at the blurry neon lights of the city, you sigh and tell her how much you envy rich folks. You sigh, envying how rich folks never have to please others or panic over where their next meal is coming from at the end of the month. Just like the saying goes, her normal day is your biggest dream. Beside you, she whispers softly that someone actually has a golden ticket to live this exact dream, but completely fails to grasp it. You whip your head around, pointing a finger right at your own nose. Are you talking about me? Stop playing, unless I somehow hit the mega lottery. I can't imagine any world where my family suddenly gets rich. She just rolls her eyes so hard they almost disappear and shuts up. The taxi drives for what feels like forever before finally pulling up in front of a massive, sprawling mansion. Wait, landlord lady, you moved? But clearly, this isn't your first time visiting her. Your family's actually used to live close by. Back when you were kids, she'd always drag you over to play. Her parents would visit town once in a while, so you got really close with them, too. The two families were so tight, they basically shared a single brain cell. She mentions moving in right after her college exams. She adds, totally annoyed, that she invited you over plenty of times but you were always the one refusing. You scratch your head, totally embarrassed, muttering that you had to work part-time jobs and just didn't have the time. She pulls a key out of her pocket, tossing it over while telling you to go inside and grab a shower first. You catch it, totally confused, asking if she's going home, but she replies she's going to buy you some clothes. She points out you can't put wet rags back on after a shower, even if the rain outside is pouring. She warns it's unsafe for her to go out alone. When you suggest just skipping the shower, she calls you gross and glares with weapons-grade disgust. She shoves an umbrella into your hands and kicks you out of the car. Fine, you mutter. You tell her to just put the clothes on your tab, promising to pay her back later. You figure being a bit dirty is no big deal, but tracking mud into her ultra-luxurious mansion would be a crime. With that settled, you march right in. Only Ara and the driver are left. He asks where to next, and she tells him the South Lake Apartments. This is absolutely no ordinary taxi. It is clearly a private luxury ride disguised as a cab just for show. The driver is actually a top-tier pro hired by the Vance family to serve as Ara's private chauffeur. Ara Vance is no ordinary landlord. She's the legitimate eldest daughter of the Vance family, one of the 4 great clans of Metro Avalon, back when they were caught in a brutal power struggle. Her parents sent her to Rivertown just to keep her completely safe. Once the drama cleared, she stubbornly chose to stay in Rivertown. But here is the thing: you are completely clueless about her secret identity. In your purely innocent eyes, Ara is just an ordinary, run-of-the-mill, incredibly wealthy landlady. Ara smiles slightly, whispering to herself that she wants to see exactly what her darling is up to. She pulls out her phone, hoping you won't disappoint the elaborate stage she has set up for you. The screen is actively showing a live security feed from inside the mansion. Right then, You strip off your soaking clothes, wringing them out under the roof to make absolutely sure you don't drip water inside. The lights are blazing like someone left in a massive hurry, making you look up at a giant, ridiculously expensive chandelier. Then, your eyes drift over to the ultra-premium beanbag sofas in the living room. This place is way more luxurious than her old apartment, and it completely blows your mind. You knew she was loaded, but this is next-level rich. It makes you wonder how your old man is doing right now. Looking out the window, you see the rain hasn't let up at all. In fact, it is pouring even harder. You don't expect your dad to buy you a mansion, but he could at least not steal your living expenses. Letting out a soul-crushing sigh, you do a full lap around the first floor. Finding no shower room, you head up the stairs to the second level. A ridiculously long hallway greets your eyes. The walls are covered in an absurd number of framed art pieces. You stare at these paintings in absolute shock, not because they are masterpieces, but because every single one of these atrocities was drawn by you. Back in grade school, you loved to draw, even though your skills were a total crime against humanity. Conveniently, Ara was actually a talented artist, so she became your designated art tutor. After you finished your masterpieces, Ara would offer to keep them. You never imagined she would frame and hang every single one in this massive gallery hallway. She wonders silently if her darling finally understands the true depth of her devotion. Ara watches this exact scene with rapt fascination, eagerly waiting for your emotional reaction, and she gets exactly what she expected. Your eyes get a little misty as you realize the rent boss is actually incredibly sentimental. You felt deeply touched. He was truly the ultimate best bro. The moment those words reached Alara, her face darkened like a thunderstorm. Meanwhile, you are wondering why this massive mansion does not have a single bathroom. You walked all the way to the end of the hallway without finding anything. Suddenly, ding! Your phone chimed with a message from Alara. She texted that she forgot to mention there is no guest bathroom, only the one inside her master bedroom. Her room was on the second floor, the one with the lights on. You quickly texted back to ask her, "Is not this highly inappropriate?" But she never replied. You stared at her door, hesitated for a full minute, and finally pushed it open to walk inside. The room had pink walls and a huge white bed, with a giant teddy bear sitting right in the center. By the looks of it, she used it as a body pillow. She actually still kept this thing. You immediately recognized it as the birthday present you gave her as kids. How did it get so hilariously mangled? The bear had quite a few small holes punctured all over, but every single one was meticulously stitched back together. Yes, that is right, my darling. Alara's lips curved into a sinister smirk. She had preserved it safely all this time. Look at this talk about a major red flag. She literally stabs the bear, lovingly stitches it up, and sleeps with it to validate her crazy feelings. Seriously, how old is she? Still sleeping with a teddy? You could not help but mock her out loud. Alara stared at her screen with a completely deadpan face. Is that seriously his only takeaway here? Right by the bed was her desk, where a diary lay wide open. Since when did the wealthy rent baroness start keeping a journal? You vividly remembered she never had this habit. Little did you know, this diary was a trap Alara carefully prepared. My darling, once you read this, you will finally understand. But before she could finish her villainous monologue, honestly, writing private things and just leaving them out, good thing it was me who walked in. What if some stranger saw all this embarrassing stuff? You thoughtfully snapped the diary shut, clipping her pen between the pages as a bookmark. It is fine, she told herself. Just remain calm. Alara fought down the urge to hijack the car and speed back home. She still had her ultimate trump card. Ring, ring, ring. You nearly jumped out of your skin when an alarm suddenly blared. You whipped your head toward her bedroom closet. Why on earth did she hide an alarm clock inside her closet? You frowned, completely confused, while Alara smirked devilishly. This was another trap she had set in advance. Once Kalen opens that door, he will see the walls are completely covered with photos of the two of them. This feels highly inappropriate. It is a girl's private wardrobe after all. You pulled back your hand just as you were about to open it, deciding to let her handle it. Honestly, how is he this clueless? A complete block of wood sitting inside her taxi. Alara's eyes began to glow with a terrifying red light, her smile twisting with sheer, unadulterated fury. Did you completely fail to notice even a tiny fraction of my feelings? That is fine. Once I return, I will forcefully teach you. But right now, it is time to collect a little bit of interest. Swiping her finger across the screen, she switched the live surveillance feed directly to the bathroom camera. Her expression slowly warped into something deeply unhinged. Oh, Kalen. A short while later, her car finally pulled up outside your apartment building. The chauffeur politely announced that they had arrived. Why did it have to end at this exact moment? Reluctantly putting her phone away, she ignored the driver asking what she planned to do next. It was nothing. Tell him to just wait here. Alara stepped out, popped open the trunk, and dragged out a massive white burlap sack. The chauffeur asked in total confusion, if they were not supposed to be buying clothes for Kaylin. Alara completely ignored him, heaving the massive sack over her shoulder as she marched straight into the building through the pouring rain. Wet hair was plastered to her face, but she could not care less. Wondering where the best spots to place these would be, she ripped open the sack under the dim lights. It was packed with micro-surveillance cameras. She completely forgot to control her creepy facial expressions. A bit of drool actually escaped the corner of her mouth. Time to give your new home a thorough, loving renovation. Back inside the bathroom, you were happily humming a little tune. Warm water washed the stress from your tired body while you wondered why the wealthy rent baroness was not back yet. Just as you reached for your phone to text her, the heavy front door slammed shut downstairs, followed by a flurry of incredibly fast, chaotic footsteps. A moment later, a sharp knock rattled the bathroom door. Era asks if Kane is done washing up, handing over the clothes, while he tells her to put the cost on his tab. Kane promises to pay her back, but she interrupts to complain about his closet alarm ringing over and over. Era tells him to shut it off, and almost instantly, the annoying ringing is cut dead silent. Speaking up once more, she proposes to just add the cost of the clothes to his rent, which Kane completely agrees with. Without thinking, Kane quickly agrees, so she casually offers to just walk in and hand over the shopping bag. She wants him to open up, but he says to just use the crack. With a towel wrapped tight around his waist, he peeks out, making her complain about how stingy Kane is being. Muttering in annoyance, she forcefully shoves the shopping bag inside, prompting Kane to quickly open it up. An incredibly familiar, expensive scent hits him right away, making him wonder why a shop would perfume clothes this heavily. Did they literally soak these in cologne, and why does this fragrance feel so strangely familiar to him? Brushing it off, Kane grabs the underwear and starts sliding them on, only to realize they feel pretty tight. Kane asks if she bought a size too small, but she claims she has no idea what his measurements are. She sounds totally defensive, complaining that she's never shopped for him before, making Kane quickly back down. Telling her he can make it work, Kane digs deeper into the bag, only to pull out some bright pink cartoon boxers. Kane drops into a deep, stunned silence. Seriously, Ara? He tells her he never expected such a wild design, but Ara, embarrassed and angry, snaps at him to shut up and just wear them. Though they fit incredibly snug, he manages to squeeze himself inside, looking over at the remaining pile of new clothes. A sudden wave of warmth fills his chest. He never realized Era could be this sweet, gladly accepting the new gear with a quiet word of thanks. Meanwhile, right outside the bathroom, Ara wears a truly chilling grin, muttering that she needs to buy some new clothes herself. Stepping out of the bathroom, Kane finds Era sitting perfectly upright on the bed, staring directly at him like a hawk. He asks what is up, but she quickly breaks her intense laser stare, pretending nothing is wrong. Declaring it is her turn, Era marches straight past him and slams the bathroom door shut. Inside, Ara mutters furiously, wondering why Kane is making her push things to such a wild extreme. But honestly, who can blame her? Sometimes a girl just has to take the lead. Staring into the mirror, she admires her own incredible figure, licking her lips with a hungry look in her eyes. Era is absolutely determined to make Kane see her as a real woman instead of just a bro, warning him not to peek before turning on the splashing shower. Kane rolls his eyes incredibly hard at her dramatic warning. Sighing, he pulls out his phone to search for part-time jobs, but just a few minutes later, Ara calls out to him again. She claims she forgot her towel, sweet-talking Kane into fetching it for her, which immediately makes him freeze in place. Ara casually explains that since she lives alone, there is absolutely no reason for her to keep extra towels in the bathroom. She tells him to grab the one from the balcony, and reluctantly, he goes to fetch it. Kane grabs the towel and walks over to the door, but when she tells him to come on in, he literally doubts his own ears. He asks her to repeat that, and when she calmly tells him to enter, Kane completely freezes on the spot. I mean, is this how rich girls operate, or is she playing a game? Either way, his entire body turns to absolute stone. His limbs feel incredibly heavy, completely glued to the floor as his heart beats wildly in his chest. She asks what he is waiting for, telling him to hurry inside already. Era sounds incredibly casual, sighing softly, as if she is simply talking about the daily weather forecast. He tries to explain that even as close buddies, there is a clear boundary that bros simply should not cross. Kane acts highly principled, but Era giggles mischievously and asks why not, prompting him to shout that she is literally a girl. She whispers in a sweet voice, asking if he finally realized she was a girl, letting out a chilling laugh right after. With a quiet click, the doorknob turns, and the bathroom door slowly swings wide open. He instantly squeezes his eyes shut and spins around to face the wall, frantically asking his landlady what she is doing. She quietly slips up behind him, leaning in incredibly close to whisper directly into his ear. Asking what is wrong, her breath carries a deeply hypnotic fragrance. That warm blast from the heater makes her voice sound practically electric, instantly sending a numb shock right through Kaylin's entire body. Brothers playing these kinds of jokes is way over the line, and Kaylin desperately tries to create some physical distance. What is the issue? Aren't best bros supposed to be completely bare and honest with each other? Alla's voice sounds impossibly soft and gentle, acting like a completely different person from her usual self. That bare and honest she's talking about? No, definitely not his definition. He takes a massive step back, attempting a tactical escape, but she spins like a fairy and grabs his wrist with an iron grip. She blocks him completely, standing right under the warm bathroom lights and shutting down any possible chance he has of running away. Standing on tiptoes, she presses her forehead to his, whispering if he still fails to understand. Her voice sounds fragile, weak, absolutely dripping with deep hurt. "You made me wait for so long, you are so cruel," she says, as Colin stands frozen there like a wooden statue. Alla bites her lip, her eyes flickering dangerously, suddenly changing her mind. Keeping his eyes tightly shut, Kaylin throws the bath towel onto the bed and bolts like a literal rocket. With a loud crash, he trips spectacularly over a stray chair and faceplants. Ignoring the sharp pain, Kaylin scrambles up, rushes out the door, and slams it behind him, leaving Alla standing completely frozen in the middle of the empty bedroom. Her hollow gaze tracks his escape as her face instantly goes pitch black, her lips curling into a cold, menacing sneer. "Kaylin, is this your final answer?" A single tear slides down her cheek as her eyes flare with a terrifying crimson light, her breathing growing wildly unstable. Whispering his name, Alla spins around to rip her wardrobe open, frantically tearing down the massive wall of photos plastered inside. Her hands shake uncontrollably. She grips those photos like a drowning person clutching a life preserver. These photos capture every single moment from the day they met right up to high school graduation, and only then does her chaotic mind find a little comfort. Gasping heavily as a dark red flush creeps over her face, she whispers, "Kaylin, why will you not just understand? Why do you run from my feelings when we have been through so much together? Why did you reject me?" Her eyes lock onto the bed. The teddy bear, walking over slowly, she grabs it by the neck, drags it to her desk, and whips out a box cutter, slicing it open until the white cotton stuffing explodes everywhere. She mutters that she hates him, stabbing the bear repeatedly until it turns into an unrecognizable, mangled nightmare. "Why Kaylin?" she asks, her crimson eyes staring unblinkingly as she shakes the destroyed toy with psychotic rage. "Talk to me, Kaylin," but she already knows why. He just does not love her enough yet to accept her. In reality, he understands perfectly. He is just playing dumb. "You have been lying to me all these years, right, Kaylin?" And since the bear does not move, she treats it as a silent confession. She knew it all along, but she whispers that it is perfectly fine. Her goal is to slowly, methodically cultivate their bond, until she is the absolute only thing left allowed to exist in his entire world. Her eyes completely glaze over, sinking deep into psychotic delusions. She hugs the mangled teddy bear tightly to her chest, crushing it until the toy practically disintegrates. With white cotton spilling all over the floor, Alla collapses in absolute agony, her shaking hands clumsily scraping up the loose stuffing to force it back into the ruined bear. But the more she panics, the more she rips the fragile fabric apart. Soon, the teddy bear loses every last scrap of stuffing, leaving behind nothing but a scarred, hollow rag. She made a mistake. She should never have let him run. With a chilling laugh, she vows to strip him of his right to refuse her, forcing Kaylin by her side forever. Pulling her phone out without a second thought, she boots up a GPS tracking app because he forced her hand, intending to order her guards to hunt him down and drag him back. Staring at the tracker, her eyes widen like saucers. Wait, why is it doing that? The flashing red dot is moving at breakneck speed, except it is heading straight back to the mansion. Downstairs, the front door clicks open, followed by a loud shout echoing through the house. "Baroness, I am back," making Alla freeze solid. Ara never expected Kane to pull a sudden U-turn and sprint right back. She kept mumbling his name like a broken record, totally freezing up on her next move. Hearing his footsteps pounding up the stairs, she snapped back to reality and yelled, "Kane, stop right there, do not come in." Her voice was laced with pure panic, and as Kane asked what was wrong in sheer confusion, she quickly stammered that she was in the middle of changing her clothes. She warned him not to take another step inside, while frantically trying to clean up the ripped cotton all over the floor. Didn't she just scream at him to run straight into the bathroom? He scratched his head, completely baffled, while she swept the floor and shrieked that she was actually wearing a towel back then. "But you just told me to bring a towel," he muttered, completely and utterly confused. She snapped back that she needed 2 separate towels to dry off, her voice sounding incredibly frantic and high-pitched. Talk about a heart attack, Kane thought. Glad his innocence was still intact, he told her to hurry it up. He leaned against the door, exhaling a massive sigh of relief. Inside, Ara scrambled to shove the evidence away, stuffing the ripped cotton and the shredded teddy bear deep into her closet. Then she dove onto the bed, burying her head under the pillow so he wouldn't see the tears starting to form. She finally gave him permission to enter, and Kane slowly pushed the door open, holding a little pharmacy bag before sitting down on the edge of her bed. Kane, what are you doing back here? With her head still buried, she mumbled the question defensively. Kane just stared at her, completely puzzled, asking why he wasn't allowed to return to his own room. Did you come back just to pity me? She bit her lip, face down, while Kane grew even more spectacularly confused. In her mind, she was replaying the moment he had no clothes on. She remembered him leaning close, pressing his forehead against hers, and angrily whispered if he even recalled what she said. Her voice shook with embarrassment, her cheeks burning red as Kane admitted he had absolutely no memory of doing that. He explained that she was running a massive fever, which is why he ran out to grab some medicine, waving the bag. It was already getting pretty late, and if he had waited any longer, every pharmacy nearby would have closed down. This realization completely blue-screened her brain, plunging the entire room into absolute, pin-drop silence. Just look at her face, she is utterly stunned as she rolls over, staring up at him with wide, teary puppy eyes, completely forgetting her messy look. Wait, a fever? Kane asked, completely startled by her tears. He asked if she was in pain, totally stressing out because he had no clue how to handle a crying girl. Aura just stared, completely silent. Kane started to panic, realizing his words were only making things worse. He quickly scooted closer, setting the medicine down, asking if it felt awful when they touched foreheads earlier. Explaining that her skin was literally radiating heat, he realized she was burning up. That's why he immediately sprinted out for medicine, wondering if she caught a chill from buying him clothes in the rain. He frantically babbled explanations, completely convinced she was sobbing just because the fever made her feel absolutely miserable. Her immune system was always pretty weak, meaning any rain would instantly give her a cold, and a cold always leads to a fever, so she desperately needed this medicine if she wanted to recover. He kept rambling to explain himself, but Aura stayed absolutely still, not moving. Her beautiful eyes stared unblinkingly at him, tears flowing like a broken faucet while Kane panicked, wondering if he screwed up again. Watch how he handles this with no clue how to fix it. He just resorts to a brute force apology. Man, I am so sorry for making you wait, he pleaded, explaining he literally only had $10 left. He couldn't afford a cab, so he had to run to the pharmacy, finding most of the local shops closed. Running around to 4 different places was the only way to find one open. He placed his hand on her forehead, comparing the temperature to his own, realizing she was burning up even more. Telling her to lie down while he got water, he felt his shirt hem seized in a sudden, desperate death grip. Was she planning to never let him go? It felt like his entire world was suddenly crashing down on him. He slowly looked back, utterly terrified that his landlord was genuinely furious with him, while feeling a heavy wave of guilt under the pouring rain. He felt terrible for letting her go out in the storm for him, buried in shame because he made her cry, failing his duty to protect her. Are you mad at me? She whispered, probing incredibly cautiously. Or maybe her brain was just cooking from the fever. A soft, rosy blush crept over her face. This whole scene felt insanely familiar. After all, you two grew up together. Aura's parents were always traveling for work, especially whenever she came down with something. The live-in nanny was technically responsible for keeping her alive, but every single time Aura called in sick, you would march straight to her house to check on her. Sometimes you brought homework to tutor her, other times you just helped the nanny keep her entertained. But as she grew up, her immune system actually seemed to get a massive upgrade. She pretty much never fell ill anymore, especially after you both entered high school. Buried in schoolwork, you had not visited her place in forever, let alone pampered her like this. Attempting to stand, you told her you would go prep her medicine. Absolutely forbidden, Kaylin. A monstrous force yanked your shirt backward, making you lose your balance and crash violently back onto the mattress. Then, a soft body wrapped around you, ridiculously soft. Kaylin, I am so scared. Her voice was pure mush, weak and sobbing pitifully. You instantly asked what was wrong. You figured her brain had officially boiled over from the fever. Don't worry, you said. Once you take the meds, you'll bounce right back. Just tough it out for a second, you urged. You tried to gently peel Aura off your back, but she was acting like industrial superglue, refusing to let go. All right. You are not a little kid anymore. Since you are sick, just rest up. Your incredibly gentle tone seemed to spark a specific reaction in Aura's brain. She locked her python-like grip around your waist even tighter. Take it easy, you gasped. Rent Baroness. Since when did you get the strength of a gorilla? You grimaced in pain, baring your teeth. Kaylin, you are taking such good care of me. How can I ever repay you? Aura nuzzled aggressively into your back. Just refund the $10 I spent on your meds and we are square, you replied instantly. No way. Aura genuinely seemed completely delirious from the fever now, her voice incredibly weak and airy. Honestly, wouldn't you also be completely baffled by this? You could not help but roast her internally. Why is the Rent Baroness suddenly being such a cheapskate? Still, you turned to look at Aura, who was clinging to your back like a koala with her eyes closed, and chuckled teasingly. Then, what grand prize were you planning to give me? Hearing this question, she whimpered a few gibberish words. Since you could not understand a single word, you leaned down and pressed your ear right next to her lips. I want to put you inside my weight. What? Your brain completely crashed before your system could even reboot. Suddenly, your head was forcefully slammed face first into the mattress. Rent Baroness, what on earth are you doing? At least wait until you recover if you want to throw down. Aura peered at you through half-lidded eyes, her peach-pink pupils literally morphing into little hearts, asking if you wanted to find out. Staring at her in total shock, you realized she was currently burning up at 102 degrees. Her brain was completely fried. She was just spewing pure gibberish. Watching her groggy, delirious state with her perfectly sculpted face glowing cherry red, you could not resist pinching her cheek. My bro is actually pretty cute sometimes. Be a good girl. Kaylin Era's voice faded into a whisper as her breathing leveled out. It looked like she had officially passed out, but her hands? Still out here committing absolute crimes. 1 second, she was petting you like a stray cat, and the next, she was rubbing your head like a toddler. You snorted a laugh, realizing that in her subconscious, you were either a house pet or some annoying little kid. Who knew the Rent Baroness was a sleep talker? Suddenly, a diabolical plan clicked in your head. If you snapped a photo of her acting like this and recorded the audio, once she wakes up sober, she will be begging on her knees for you to delete it. By then, she will have to do whatever you command. Maybe you can start by making her refund your medicine money. You immediately sprang into action, whipping out your phone to unleash a rapid-fire paparazzi blitz right at her face. Then you opened up the voice recorder app and shoved the microphone right next to her mouth. Absolute perfection. Smirking like a true supervillain, you prepared to extract yourself, only to discover that even though she was fast asleep, her body was quite literally locked onto yours. Her arms were clamped tightly around your neck. Her chin rested heavily on your shoulder, and her scorching hot breath kept blasting you right in the face. You have got to be kidding. How are you supposed to sleep like this? But since she is your sworn bro, you will just have to endure it. The next morning, a bright ray of sunlight pierced the window, hitting your face. Opening her eyes just a bit, she spots you lying right there next to her. Your face, plagued with massive, panda-style dark circles from zero sleep. Glaring back with the unblinking intensity of an angry spirit, you radiate pure resentment. She crushed your arm under her weight so long it achieved total numbness. The limb is totally dead, yet you do not dare move a single muscle, terrified you might wake her. Worse still, you feel like a totally flat balloon. It is as if your entire life force was violently ripped right out of you. Ara looks completely dazed and out of it. Squinting at you for a full minute, she shuffles closer to whisper a sleepy good morning. Then she shuts her eyes, snuggles even deeper against your chest, planning to drift straight back to sleep. Rent Baroness, please take a look at the actual time. Your voice sounds like pure sandpaper. Ever since waking up, your throat feels like you swallowed broken glass. There is an 80% chance she infected you with her virus, especially since you had to lie perfectly still all night, acting as her personal body pillow. You did not sleep a single wink. Ara acts completely deaf, keeping you in a tight headlock while snuggling peacefully. You let out a heavy sigh inside. She got sick in the first place, so you feel partly responsible. With that thought, your bubbling rage dials back a couple of notches. She is probably just using you as a backup for that beat-up teddy bear anyway. Letting out a huge yawn, you scan the messy room. Where did that giant teddy bear go? You and I literally just saw it right here. It is not until noon that she finally opens her eyes for good. Her energy is totally restored, and her brain is running at full capacity. Rent Baroness, did you enjoy your nap? You force the words out syllable by painful syllable. She just gives a lazy MHM. It was incredibly comfortable, she says. What about you, Kaylin? Did you sleep well? Sitting up, she takes a long, massive stretch. Morning sunlight highlighting her stunning figure right through those sheer pajamas. You suggest checking out those rental apartments, but the moment you try to sit up, she forcefully shoves you right back onto the mattress. Rent Baroness, what are you doing? You ask, but she instantly diagnoses your miserable state. You are sick. A weird, unnatural light flashes in her eyes. You definitely caught my fever, she declares. You must stay in bed and rest today, she orders. You just smile bitterly, shaking your head because this minor cold is nothing. I have worked 12-hour shifts when my legs felt like absolute jelly. Time is money, so let us go look at those places right now. Absolutely not, she commands. Her tone is incredibly dictatorial. You will lie down right now and be a good boy. Once you are better, I will take you house hunting myself. Her voice starts trailing off, dropping into a soft, quiet whisper. I have never gotten the chance to take care of you while you are sick, especially after a whole night of no sleep. Between the raging fever and exhaustion, you feel ready to die. So, you just give up. Fine, you sigh. I will leave my life in your hands. With those words, You slowly close your eyes. Your mind fades away, and your breathing settles into a quiet, steady rhythm. Standing right by the bed, the corners of Era's mouth twitch into a wicked, dark smirk. Kaylin, let me take good care of you. Reaching out, she gently caresses your burning cheek, feeling the heavy heat radiating from your skin like a magnet. She presses her entire face right against yours, rubbing her cheek hard against yours. Her expression twists into something deeply unhinged. She is drowning in her own crazy, wild euphoria. After what feels like forever, she finally forces herself to stand back up. She strokes your hair over and over, coaxing you in a quiet whisper like a child. Kaylin, you are being such a good boy. What reward should I give you? Suddenly, an idea hits her. Her eyes light up like searchlights. You must be completely starving by now, she thinks. Let me feed you something delicious. She runs off to the kitchen and comes back with a slice of bread. Biting off a small corner, she chews it up and holds the mush right on her tongue. Era stares with laser focus at your lips, which are trembling slightly as you breathe. Terrifying excitement rushes through her veins. Watch this, she leans down, preparing to deliver that mouth-to-mouth bread mush. But right at this critical moment, her phone suddenly blasts like a loud siren. The sudden noise startles her so badly that the chewed bread falls off her tongue and lands right on the floor. She stands completely frozen. Her face instantly turns pitch black with anger as she starts cursing like crazy in her head. What kind of idiot is calling right now, ruining my absolute masterpiece at the perfect moment? Completely ignoring her buzzing phone, Ara took another bite of the bread, gearing up for attempt number 2. But that loud, annoying ringtone made you groan and roll over, leaving your back to Era and completely ruining her plan to feed you. She wanted to yank you back around, but was too terrified of waking you up. After agonizing over it for a painful 30 seconds, she finally gave up, her mouth twitching in sheer frustration. Then, with a murderous look plastered on her face, she stormed out and snatched her phone, radiating pure resentment. "Hello," she muttered, her voice completely dead. "Ara, sweetie, are you home?" Mother Vance's gentle voice came through the line. Ara gave another tired grunt, prompting her mom to ask what was wrong. "Are you sick? Or did you run into some kind of trouble?" "No," Ara mumbled, and the line went dead silent for a moment. Then Father Vance's booming voice suddenly exploded, asking if that punk Kaylin was bullying her. "He is absolutely not," she muttered, puffing her cheeks. "Kaylin treats me better than anyone, even if it was just a quiet mumble." Her parents heard it with crystal clarity anyway, and Mother Vance couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Wait, are you hanging out with Kaylin right now?" Ara never expected her mom to read her mind so easily. Her face instantly flushed tomato red. "Yeah," she whispered. "He is actually in my bedroom right now." Mother Vance let out a suggestive laugh. "You already know she is teasing them about their private time." Hearing this, Father Vance exploded like a powder keg, slamming his hand onto the table. "That little punk has zero respect for boundaries, sneaking into your house. Just wait until I get my hands on him. I will take some garden shears and snip his." "Dad, what on earth are you imagining?" Era screamed. Snorting in pure embarrassment and fury, she rushed to explain the whole situation. Once they heard the story, both parents were completely stunned. "No wonder we couldn't contact Silas these past few days," her dad grumbled. "Their family is seriously ridiculous, getting into huge trouble and not even asking us for help. Look, why not just bring Kaylin to stay with us at the main estate for now? He got into Metro Avalon University as well, right? That way, you two can keep each other company, and Kaylin won't have to worry about rent. Can we really do that?" A wave of pure joy rushed into Era's voice. Mother Vance smiled and glanced at Father Vance, whose face was completely dark with annoyance. "Seriously, she sounded half dead just a second ago, but mention Callan moving in and she instantly gets super excited. But Kaylin would absolutely never agree to that." Ara sighed heavily. "His pride is thicker than a brick wall. There is zero chance he'd accept free housing from us. Plus, if he ever discovered who I really am, he would probably stop talking to me completely." Ara knew for sure. If you found out she was actually a high society heiress, well, we all know a massive wall would immediately stand between you. Honestly, you two are a huge headache, and Kaylin is a really great kid in every way, except he is as emotionally dense as a solid block of concrete, Mother Vance muttered, shaking her head. "Your identity is going to slip eventually. I mean, you can't keep playing a poor landlord in front of him forever. At least for right now, I have to." Ara gritted her teeth. Sometimes she wanted to crack your skull open just to check if it was entirely filled with sawdust. She was determined to keep up the lie until the two of you actually became official. Only then would she reveal the truth. "But what if we do this instead? I will buy a villa right near Metro Avalon University, and you can tell him you want to split rent as roommates. Just charge him a tiny, symbolic fee. That way, he won't suspect a thing, and your secret identity stays safe." "How does that sound?" Ara's eyes lit up like supernovas, the corners of her mouth curling into a smile. Perfect, let's do it. I absolutely veto this, Father Vance panicked, slamming his hand on the table again. Living completely alone under one roof? Who knows what kind of degenerate things that boy might try? Mother Vance rolled her eyes into orbit. Aren't we also living in Metro Avalon? Worst case, we can just crash their place for dinner every single night to ease your paranoid fatherly heart. She paused, smiling with pure mischief. Besides, you know exactly what kind of kid Kalen is. He is honest to a fault. If something actually did happen between them, we will just kidnap him and force him to marry her. He wouldn't escape even if he tried. What on earth are you two talking about? Ara grumbled, puffing her cheeks and faking outrage. But the corners of her mouth betrayed her, rising uncontrollably. Ara, sweetheart, be Avalon tomorrow. Why not just pack up and move back to Metro Avalon tomorrow? Go early, so Kalen doesn't have to suffer alone, Mother Vance says in a highly loaded sign-off. Hanging up, she says she won't interrupt you two anymore, so have fun. She thought about it, and Alara got incredibly excited. Her mind was already running 4K simulations of the two of you eating every meal and walking to class together. She completely lost touch with reality, and by the time she snapped out of it, she frantically wiped the drool from her chin, feeling a tiny twinge of regret. What a waste. Now I cannot use those cameras I set up in the apartment. But look at this sudden shift. You snap your eyes open, trapped in a pitch-black room. It was dark as a tomb, and your limbs were tightly lashed to a shaky wooden chair. You struggle. But the ropes only tighten, almost as if cursed by some dark magic. A single ray of light cut through a spinning exhaust fan, hitting you right in the face. Shadows from the rotating fan blades flicker softly across your skin, feeling almost like an eerie hand reaching out from the deep abyss to gently stroke your face. That lone light also revealed another silhouette right next to you. Dad, you scream, why are you here? But Silas acts completely deaf, staring blankly into the empty void, sitting there, like a lifeless statue. Dad, you yell, desperately throwing your weight to drag the heavy chair inch by painful inch toward him. 5 meters, 3 meters, then 1 meter. Right as you are about to reach him, a massive shadow suddenly swallows you, completely blocking out the light. Suffocating pressure crushes down on you, feeling as though a multi-ton boulder was dropped right onto your chest. Losing your balance completely, you crash hard onto the cold floor. Help me, Dad, you plead. But the heavy pressure only intensifies. The rope squeezes tighter as the shadow deepens, completely swallowing up all light within seconds. Your world goes pitch black, and worse yet, your nose and mouth feel like they are stuffed with heavy concrete. Breathing is totally impossible. Your basic survival instincts scream at you to thrash, but your limbs remain locked completely tight. You can only shake your head wildly, desperately trying to throw off the heavy, invisible weight crushing you. Right now, you feel exactly like a drowning man, clawing desperately just to reach the surface. But some unseen, monstrous force drags you straight down. Am I really going to die right here? You scream silently. No, you refuse to die. Where is Silas? You look around in pure panic. Your dad has completely vanished. Suddenly, everything before your eyes shatters like a soap bubble, breaking into tiny fragments. You try to fight, but it is useless as you fall into a bottomless, dark ocean. Your consciousness fades fast. Then, you suddenly snap your eyes wide open. An explosive surge of pure adrenaline launches you straight up from the mattress, violently throwing off whoever was lying squarely on your chest, sending her flying. She hits the floor with a loud thud, landing flat on her back with her limbs up, groaning in pain. Sitting upright on the bed, you gasp heavily for air like a stranded fish. Seriously, talk about a nightmare. How on earth did your mind conjure up something that terrifyingly realistic? Rent Baroness, why are you sleeping on the floor? You stare down at her in complete confusion as Alara slowly peels herself off the floor, trying to fix her messy hair. That bright red blush on her face has not faded at all, and she awkwardly wipes her mouth with her sleeve, mumbling that it is nothing. She just tripped and fell. She is absolutely never going to admit that she was aggressively trying to kiss you while you were unconscious. Is that so? You narrow your eyes suspiciously, watching her guilty gaze shift around. Then what is this stuff? Plucking a few strands of golden blonde hair off the blanket, she argues that it is normal for her hair to be here. Then why is it all over my face, you ask, peeling even more blonde strands right off your own cheek. I just wanted to check your forehead to see if your fever had broken. So she just temporarily pressed her forehead against yours. Right. Yeah, that makes total sense. You accept the explanation, but your senses are screaming that something is wrong. Is your cold feeling any better? You both ask the same question together. Yeah, I am completely fine now. Era looks down and squirms a bit, staring hard at the floor while twirling a strand of her hair. You just nod. You tell her you are feeling way better, and ask how long you were asleep, but looking at the clock, you gasp in absolute shock. Turns out, You had been completely comatose in that bed for nearly an entire 24 hours. Ara grabs a glass of hot water from the nightstand, looking at you with a bright, radiant smile. She says she literally spent the whole day taking care of you, and looking at her sweaty forehead, she looks like she just finished an intense workout. She must have completely exhausted herself taking care of you. You take the warm glass, your heart heavy with guilt. Then, she randomly brings up the idea of renting a new apartment together, and without overthinking, you quickly nod in agreement. Since you both got into the exact same university, living together means you can easily watch each other's backs. Going to class together every day sounds like a solid plan, as long as you do not have to share an actual bedroom with Era. Since you did not reject the offer, she declares that it is officially decided and you move tomorrow. She gets so excited she practically jumps to the ceiling, but you ask what the plan is for tonight. But there is a catch: this massive mansion actually only has one single bedroom. So you have absolutely no choice but to stay in here, making you stare at her with deep skepticism. Plus, since your fever is still high, she says she has to monitor you tonight. You'll just have to survive one more night in here, so you accept your fate, grab a blanket, and prepare to sleep on the hard floor. Era watches your makeshift bed. A sly smirk creeps onto her face as she warns you that sleeping on the floor is terrible for your spine. She graciously offers to let you share the big bed, making you roll your eyes into the stratosphere. If you let her tease you like this all night, you will probably be completely paralyzed by morning. Wait, hold on, look at this place. The apartment she mentioned is actually a giant mansion, and arriving in Metro Avalon, you stare in shock at the 3-story villa. She nods with excitement. It is super close to campus, 10 minutes maximum, and sensing your instant financial panic, she quickly spins her cover story. Don't sweat the rent. The place belongs to her parents' friend and was just sitting empty. Once they heard we needed a home, they offered a massive discount, so your moving in actually saved her life. With a 50-50 split, that massive weight of financial anxiety in your chest completely melts away, and you follow Era inside. The moment Era steps inside, she launches herself like a missile onto the living room sofa, complaining loudly. She groans that she is completely exhausted, face planting into the cushions. Her legs kick the air restlessly, launching her slippers across the room, and one almost smashes the flat-screen TV. She claims she is tired, but you look at your own hands carrying 100% of her heavy bags. Your face twitches with total annoyance. Time to get up and stop slacking, rent queen. You tell her to unpack, but she refuses and tells you to do it, making you ask if she is serious. A wicked grin spreads across your face as your hands reach out, like claws toward her ultimate weak spots. Asking if she is ready to move, you launch a ruthless tickle attack until she starts begging for mercy. Ara giggles uncontrollably, screaming that she surrenders and will go organize her bedroom immediately. You help carry her bags to her door and lay down the plan, telling her to clean up while you head out. You mention you might not return tonight, making her look up and ask where you could possibly go this late. She looks completely confused, but you let out a heavy sigh and explain you need a part-time job. If luck is on your side, you could start earning cash tonight, which makes a very strange look flash in her eyes. She tells you not to stay out late, but watching you walk away, a sly, calculating smile spreads across her face. She mutters to herself that she would never let her darling work some exhausting, basic job. So watch this. She immediately dials a secret number on her phone. Hanging up, she opens a hidden compartment in her suitcase, pulls out a micro camera, and walks straight to your bedroom. She whispers that since she treats you so exceptionally well, getting a little hidden camera view is totally fair play. Honestly, you still cannot believe your best friend scored an absolute mansion like this. That night, your older cousin Thalia drove you back to the villa on her motorcycle, and yeah, you had spent the entire evening completely failing to find a job. But by some crazy stroke of luck, you ran into your long-lost cousin, Thalia, who is your uncle's daughter. After graduating college, she moved to Metro Avalon to grind it out alone. You only ever saw her during family holidays. Back when you were kids, she used to bully you relentlessly. Even though you were physically stronger, that brutal family hierarchy meant you took endless losses whenever you tried to rebel. So, you crowned her with a fitting title, the Grand Demonist. Right then, she was about to wave and rev her engine to leave. You checked the time and quickly stopped her. Sis, it is way too late. It is pretty unsafe out there. Why don't you just crash in my room tonight? You take the bed, and I'll sleep on the floor. Thalia just gave a massive yawn and waved her hand. Works for me, she said, but you sleep where you usually do. I can survive just fine on the couch. With that, she dragged her completely exhausted self into the house right behind you. The rent baroness is probably deep asleep by now. You shut the front door like a stealthy ninja and tiptoed up the stairs. Suddenly, a soft, slightly whiny voice drifted down from the second floor. Why did you come home so late? She asked. Ara, wearing a fuzzy bear onesie, poked her sleepy head over the railing. She immediately gasped out, Sister Thalia. Her eyes locked onto Thalia, practically shooting lasers of pure excitement as her face bloomed into a radiant smile. Aura asked how on earth Thalia ended up living with this punk. We got into the same college, so we just ended up roommates, Aura stammered, blushing red. Thalia's mouth curved into a knowing smirk. She had clocked this girl's hidden motives from a mile away. Her energy instantly shot up. And honestly, aren't we all dying to know their official relationship status right now? Relationship status? You yawned heavily and rolled your eyes. Hurry up and go to sleep, sis. Tomorrow, I am dragging you to help me job hunt. And you, rent baroness, staying up this late? Watch me report you to auntie. Aura immediately latched onto your arm like a remora fish. I was waiting up for you, she cooed, dragging you toward her bedroom. Rent baroness, what are you doing? My energy is at absolute zero. Let me go. No way, she said. I am terrified of the dark and cannot sleep. Aura activated her ultimate pitiful puppy persona, clinging tight and acting aggressively cute. It is fake, you thought, shooting her a look of pure disdain. Aura threw a quick wink at Thalia. Thalia instantly decoded the signal and bolted straight into your bedroom. Lil bro, sis suddenly really wants to sleep on a mattress. With that, she slammed the door and threw the deadbolt shut. Sis, you instantly realized you had been totally outmaneuvered. Oh dear, Sister Thalia must be completely exhausted. We should absolutely let her get a good night's rest. A flash of pure cunning gleamed in Aura's eyes as she kicked her bedroom door shut. Fine, you sighed. I am completely defeated by you two. Accepting your grim fate, you collapsed into the desk chair in her room. She stared at you with her eyes curved into happy little crescents. How did the job hunt go today? Recalling the absolute disaster of your evening, you could not help but sigh. Total wipeout. Tomorrow I have to expand the search radius. You proceeded to trauma dump the entire bizarre sequence of events on her. Hearing this, Aura's brow furrowed tightly, the smile completely evaporating from her face. She listened quietly to your endless complaints with her head lowered, calculating some completely unknown variables in her mind. Half an hour later, you finally succumbed to the overwhelming exhaustion, literally passing out while sitting upright in the chair. My darling, you finally fell asleep. I was practically dying of impatience here. Aura raised her head, the corners of her mouth hooking into a terrifying, dark smile. She then physically hauled you onto her bed. Be a good boy, and sleep. But hold on, did she actually just say she is going to permanently eliminate the local street trash who dared to bully you? After tucking you in perfectly, she whipped out her phone and made a quick call. Why is there zero noise coming from those two? Next door, Thalia had her ear practically glued to the wall, eavesdropping like a professional spy. How boring, Thalia sighed with heavy disappointment. In her personal headcanon, you and Aura were a god-tier childhood friends to lovers ship. As a veteran shipper, she felt morally obligated to aggressively intervene and speed up the plot. This is unacceptable. I have to go see what they are doing. Realizing there was prime gossip to be harvested, Thalia's blood pressure spiked, completely vaporizing her fatigue. She tiptoed with cat-like precision to Aura's door. Light was still leaking out from under the doorframe. Aren't you guys supposed to turn off the lights for a midnight rendezvous? Thalia stands there completely bewildered when a voice colder than absolute zero cuts through the door, declaring that starting tomorrow, the High family name is banned from Metro Avalon forever. Oh, and grab the High family young master and drag him straight to me. I have a very special schedule planned for him. Wait, is that Era speaking? Since when did she level up to full mafia boss mode? Thalia's eyes widen like dinner plates because this chilling voice is totally unlike the sweet Aura she knows. This sound radiates a terrifying, unquestionable authority. Right then, Thalia's brain goes into overdrive. Hold on a second. The legendary Vance family. It all suddenly makes perfect sense in her head. Wow, little brother, you somehow managed to anger a total monster, but if I stick close to you, I am set for life. While Thalia is busy planning her early retirement, an incredibly sultry voice drifts from behind the door once more. Halen, I just did you a huge favor, so it is only fair that I collect a little reward, right? Hearing those words, Thalia grins from ear to ear. She wishes she could literally turn herself into a piece of gum stuck to the door. Inside, Aura leans over, pressing her face close to Kalen's, and takes a slow, deep breath. My darling, whenever you leave, you are gone for the whole day. So, to keep myself from running out of energy, I will just take some backup power ahead of time. Suddenly, with a sharp ripping sound, a piece of fabric ends up right in Era's hand. Outside, Thalia hears everything. Her wild imagination starts running some highly inappropriate scenes, and her eyes literally shine with curiosity. Oh man, she is going feral. After a quick round of rustling, Aura has absolutely zero regrets. She packs away her new trophies and grabs some fresh clothes to dress Kalin, since his energy is completely depleted. With her gentle touch, Kalin sleeps through the whole thing without waking up once. Suddenly, a loud crash ruins the quiet moment. Aura whips her head around only to find Thalia sitting on the cold floor, rubbing her sore backside. She was pressing against the door so hard that she literally snapped the lock right off. Their eyes meet, and they both look away instantly. Thalia laughs awkwardly and claims she was just sleepwalking. Sorry for barging in, she says, turning to run, but she cannot help taking one quick look back. Wait, why is Kaylin dead asleep? Honestly, this is about to get so much weirder. So that ripping sound earlier was not him. Kaylin is actually the victim here, which means Ara is some kind of wait. Do you know everything now? Ara keeps her head down, her voice barely a whisper as she admits she probably does. Thalia stares awkwardly at the ceiling. Ara feels like her brain is literally smoking after getting caught doing this weird ritual by Kaylin's cousin. If she tells him, but Thalia says, relax. I swear I won't tell him a thing, Thalia promises, raising her hand, but Ara groans that it is unacceptable. Kaylin can never find out. Ara starts mumbling to herself like a creepy, cursed doll. The room suddenly turns freezing cold, as if the heater just died. Cold sweat drips down Thalia's face. She tries sounding as serious and comforting as possible, telling Ara that this stuff is totally normal. You two are clearly crazy about each other. I am your biggest fan, and I will never betray you. Unacceptable. No way. Ara is repeating herself like a completely broken tape recorder. Even if your tastes are a bit unusual, I will support you fully, Thalia says, trying to calm her down. Unacceptable. No, no. Seeing her words are not working, Thalia frowns and waves her hand in front of Ara's face. Kaylin can never find out about this. Ara suddenly snaps her head up, staring at Thalia with lifeless, hollow eyes and a creepy, twisted smile. She slowly picks up a pair of scissors from the floor and stands up. Barefoot, she steps onto the floor, creeping closer while chanting Kaylin's name. You can tell her sanity has officially hit zero. She is definitely not the sweet girl she usually is. Thalia shivers violently, backing away step by step. What should I do? I need to get out of here right now. Thalia's brain screams in pure panic. She spins around and runs for her life, but those slow footsteps keep following right behind her. Thalia flies down the stairs, heading straight for the exit because escaping this house is her only priority. Otherwise, she is going to get permanently ended today as she crashes into the front door. Thalia yanked the door handle with everything she had, but it did not budge. Come on, open already. Terrified, she glanced back over her shoulder. Ara was stepping down the stairs, her glowing pink eyes piercing the darkness as she slowly closed in. Right the windows. Thalia threw herself across the floor, scrambling toward the glass and yanking the lock until the metal literally screamed. But the latch was completely rusted shut. Ara kept coming closer, with only 3 steps left. Thalia collapsed backward, tears of pure terror filling her eyes as she crawled backward. Finally, her back hit the wall. She was totally cornered. In her hand, Ara held a pair of scissors upside down, the sharp metal blades catching the dim light. Survival instinct kicked in, forcing Thalia to fight through her panic. She focused entirely on those deadly scissors. The exact millisecond the blade came down, she thrust her hands forward and grabbed Ara by the wrists. This usually delicate girl had somehow morphed into a human weapon, pushing down with terrifying, superhuman power. Thalia gritted her teeth, straining with everything she had, but she knew she could not hold on much longer. Ara kept pushing, endlessly whispering to something under her breath. It was hard to hear, but she kept repeating one name over and over, Kaylin. That was it, Kaylin. A sudden wave of realization hit Thalia. She had been so busy trying not to die that she forgot the obvious key. The whole reason Ara went crazy was to hide her dark side from Kaylin. It was time for a verbal gamble. I have Kaylin's childhood photo album, but Ara did not even blink. Her empty eyes stayed locked onto Thalia. No, wait, bad move. They grew up together, so childhood pictures mean nothing. Baby photos mean nothing to her. So what actually triggers her? You guessed it, she is a total Yandere. A wild idea hit Thalia. She screamed out at the top of her lungs. I have Kaylin's sacred boxer shorts. Hey, to survive, she would tell any lie. And just like that, Ara froze mid-attack. A strange, intense light suddenly flashed in her eyes. Kaylin's undies? Thalia saw her chance and seized it like a golden ticket. Yes, all his dirty laundry is kept at my apartment. She kept rattling off every lie she could think of, shouting, and he literally told me he loves you the most. Those words acted like a magic spell, completely calming the wild madness in Ara's brain. I love Kaylin the most too, Ara mumbled, and the scissors clanged onto the floor. Then, like someone pulled her plug, she collapsed onto the floor and was instantly fast asleep. Thalia slumped against the wall, tears of sheer relief streaming down her face. Who would have thought the sweet girl calling her big sister was secretly a lethal assassin? Man, little bro, you are dealing with a whole different level of crazy. Thalia waited a long time, letting her racing heart slow down before she finally stood up. She carried Ara back to bed, looking down at the two of them sleeping peacefully. Shaking her head with a bitter smile, she finally found the lock switch. Without looking back even once, she jumped onto her motorcycle and tore off into the quiet night. The next morning, bright sunlight beamed right through the curtains, hitting you straight in the face. We all know that amazing feeling of waking up naturally without any alarms. Unsurprisingly, Aura was clinging to you like an octopus, completely trapping you in her tight embrace. Shoot, you thought, suddenly remembering your main goal: you need to find a job today. Using every bit of strength to escape her iron grip, you carefully slipped out and tiptoed to your sister's room. Sis, you awake? You whispered, but there was no response. Did she seriously leave me here and sneak out early? You grabbed your phone to call her, but a text sent at 1 a.m. stopped you cold, leaving you utterly confused. She had urgent work and had to head out early. See you soon. Once college starts, make sure you visit me. And by the way, Aura is an absolutely incredible girl. Treat her right when classes start. Whatever you do not make her angry. Also, survive at all costs. Shrugging off the weird text, you sent Aura a quick message and finally left the house. Wait, why is there a huge crowd gathered over there? Lyra, we love you. A giant crowd of loyal fans was screaming her name in perfect unison, letting their passion echo through the entire city. A convoy of jet black Maybach cars slowly rolled onto the scene. Suddenly, someone screamed, "She is finally here! Lyra Celestia has arrived." In a microsecond, her entire fanbase went completely thermonuclear. The chants were loud enough to shatter glass. Hearing that, your eyes instantly lit up like beacons. You were a literal card-carrying fan. You absolutely did not expect this kind of luck today. While grinding to find a job, you somehow stumbled on a random world event near her scouting venue. You immediately hit sprint, diving into the massive crowd to catch a glimpse of Lyra Celestia, while the convoy slowly docked right in front of the central theater. The exact second security yanked the car doors open, a blizzard of white lilies erupted from the sunroof. Right through that gorgeous petal storm, Lyra appeared. Dressed in a beautiful white gown, she gracefully stepped out of the vehicle, flashing a radiant smile and bowing deeply to the crowd, while completely engulfed in falling flowers. Your brain temporarily stalled. She looked unreal in photos, but her live look was somehow infinitely more devastating. Only when Lyra herself, protected by her wall of guards, disappeared into the theater did you snap back to reality, realizing you forgot to take a screenshot. Right then, a completely wild plan popped into your head, leading you to scout the entire perimeter until you stopped by a quiet wall. Perfect. Absolutely zero security stationed here. You back up, prepping for a parkour jump. Watch this, because you are about to infiltrate this exact second. Suddenly, a girl's voice rings out right behind you, and since your conscience is pretty guilty, you get scared completely out of your own skin. Your left foot trips over your right, and you spectacularly eat the pavement. She panics, rushing over to ask if you are okay, while quickly helping you stand back up. You finally get a good look at this strange character, a girl wearing tactical sunglasses and a massive scarf covering almost her entire face. You completely failed to identify her face. Casually dusting off your armor, you ask if you can help her. She waves her hands, saying it is nothing major. She just wants to ask if you are a Lyra Celestia fan. When you nod, yes, her voice instantly spikes with pure excitement, saying that is absolutely perfect. She asks if you can help her with a quick quest, pointing right toward that high perimeter wall. She wants you to boost her over, but your brain immediately processes the request and serves a righteous rejection. No way, you say, scanning her up and down, asking if she is also a Lyra fan, which she quickly nods to. I knew it. You instantly hardened your face into a stern mask, telling her you completely understood her feelings. She wants to sneak in and grab some cheap paparazzi photos, but you point out that this is highly unethical. Listing point A, B, and C, you tell her to abort the mission, making her lower her head and tuck her hands together. She whispers in an incredibly pitiful, wronged tone. She promises she can pay you cash, and swears she has no intention of taking any illegal pictures. That just makes you get even more offended, asking if you look like some cheap non-player character who can be bought with simple gold. You quote a famous philosopher, declaring that a solid moral compass easily outweighs any amount of gold drops. When she offers $100, you declare morality outshines 10,000 taels of silver. Virtue transcends wealth, leaving a legacy for generations. But then she casually offers $100,000. Money is just paper, easily lost. But moral character is, wait, hold up, how much did you just say? You demand to know the exact amount, making her shrink back in fear, as she asks if she needs to add more to the bounty. Giving her a deeply critical stare, you deliver an incredibly dramatic and fatherly warning. This is strictly a one-time exploit. Saying this, you march over to the wall and get into a boosting stance. Come on then, step up. The girl instantly turns nuclear red, hesitating as she dies of sheer embarrassment. Hurry up, if security catches us doing this, the cringe levels are going to be lethal. You aggressively urge her. Shuffling over nervously, she grabs your shoulders, trembling like a leaf as she climbs onto your back and wraps her arms around your neck. Telling her to hold on tight, you slowly begin to stand up, but the girl suddenly starts making these wild, high-pitched siren noises on your back, drawing some incredibly judgmental and disgusted stares from random people passing by. You close your eyes in absolute despair. For that $100,000 bounty, you are literally sacrificing your public reputation. Check this out, after a crazy struggle, you both actually scale the perimeter wall. Just thinking about that sweet $100,000 cash reward makes you smile from ear to ear. She says she will add your WeChat and pay you. With that, the girl pulls out her phone, but she suddenly freezes, staring at a weird verification prompt on her screen in total confusion. You take a look, and your brain completely short-circuits because the username is 100% yours. But a massive red error message leaves you speechless. Talk about awkward, she literally has you blocked on her blacklist. You wonder if you actually know her, pacing a full 360-degree circle around her while trying to search your brain for any memories. Have you guys met before? Well, your brain suddenly connects the dots and delivers the real answer. It all makes sense now. This girl is just a scamming telemarketer, even though her family is clearly loaded with money. Why is she even grinding such a low-tier telemarketing job anyway? You immediately start lecturing her with some intense moral advice, but she just stands there completely silent, staring blankly at your face. Suddenly, tears start streaming down from right under her sunglasses, which totally throws you into a panic. Oh, my bad. Completely my bad. Let me pull you off my block list right this second. With that, you quickly send her a friend request, telling her not to let your harsh words drain her health bar. You explain that you used to work telemarketing too, and it is a brutal grind, but somehow, that just makes her sob even louder. Shaky crying echoes from behind her scarf. Seeing this, you close your eyes in total, hopeless defeat. You grit your teeth. No choice. You mumble under your breath that this mess is completely your fault. Promising to forfeit the bounty, you turn to make a fast escape, but she instantly snatches your shirt in a total death grip. Her crying rings in your ears as she asks if you still refuse to forgive her. Look at this reaction. You spin around, catching a glimpse of her tear-streaked face as she whispers that she finally found you. She asks if you have any idea how long she has been searching for you. Ever since childhood, she has wanted to see you, and now she opens her arms to pull you into a massive hug. You leap back. Way too intense. This telemarketer is completely hardcore, tracking your coordinates since childhood and keeping her target locked all this time. Just thinking about it makes your head spin. You pat your empty pockets with an incredibly awkward smile. You tell her you are just looking for a job and have zero cash, so joining your party will only give her a massive debuff. Her cheeks turn bright red as she softly cries, promising to stay in your party for her whole life. Treating her words like complete gibberish, you wave your hand and prepare to pull off a fast tactical retreat. With no more quests, you say you are logging off. Have fun out there. But get this, she suddenly grabs your arm with crazy strength and absolutely refuses to let go. She tells you that if you log out, you have to take her with you, landing a massive critical strike on your heart. Locked on permanently, she takes full advantage of your momentary delay. You violently tear your arm away, leap over the nearby wall, and sprint off without looking back even once. She is left standing all alone at the starting point, completely frozen for a few seconds as her face turns bright red. Her tears flowed like she had an infinite mana pool. Unacceptable. Lyra finally managed to track him down. She could not let him despawn again. Lyra told herself she had the stats to capture him. Then, as if chanting a dark magic spell, her mouth slowly curved up into a pretty creepy, unnatural smile. She vowed that she would absolutely never let you despawn from her server ever again. As you sprinted, you kept your head down, aggressively deleting and blacklisting the friend you just added. Once you verified that the ban was permanent, you smugly shoved the phone back into your inventory. But then a resounding clang. Your head slammed into a concrete pole, instantly triggering the Seeing Stars debuff as you clutched your bleeding forehead. You had to sit right down on the roadside stone steps just to slowly regenerate your HP. You tell yourself there is 0% chance she tracked your pathing. But guess what? You just took damage. A sweet, gentle voice asks what happened to your HP bar, drifting over on the cold wind with a faint scent of lilies. You lie that it is nothing, you just failed a quick time event and hit a static object. Your brain lags hard as you try to process this. Is that so? Lyra coos as fabric rips. Let Lyra wrap this healing bandage around you. Then, incredibly soft hands reach around from behind, wrapping the bandage around your forehead, layer by slow, methodical layer. You close your eyes, enjoying the premium healing buff. Thanks a lot, you say. Your username is literally identical to my favorite idol. Does that mean you are a huge fan of Lyra Celestia? Her voice starts shaking, just a little. If that's true, then I have a logic puzzle I don't quite get. She leans down, speaking directly into your ear. If you like me, Why did you initiate an escape sequence? Your pupils shrink in pure terror. You whip your head around to look at this NPC. A faint, gentle smile is frozen on her lips as she stares with pure, unhinged obsession. Dark sunglasses block her eyes, somehow making her cute, delicate face look absolutely terrifying and deeply warped. Your heart violently skips a beat. It's not just her crazy stalker vibe, your survival instincts are screaming as a freezing chill crawls straight up your spine. You lose your balance entirely and tumble right off the stone steps. But she stands completely still gripping a thick, heavy tree branch in her right hand. A creepy, robotic smile remains locked on her face, like she is totally loving your weakened state. Now look at this. You gulp down your spit, trying to act calm. Look, big sister, I give up. Are you selling insurance or something? Fine, I will buy your best package. I'll buy an extra policy for my dad, too. Online classes? Even better. My guildmates have nothing to do this winter break. It'll be the perfect grind for them. Seriously, just drop your aggro and let me live. I'll buy it. I'll buy whatever you want. Is that a deal? She stands up straight, tapping her bottom lip with one finger while resting her cheek on her other hand, looking incredibly playful and charming. Then how about I sell myself to you instead? Is that okay? She sways her body with total, vulnerable innocence. Her voice is so soft, acting cute to the max. You completely lag. Your memory instantly overloads. Wait, what do you mean by selling yourself? Seriously, speak clearly. Why force me to say this twice? Her voice fades to nothing as her cheeks turn a deep, flushing red. You left me in the waiting lobby for so long. She actually sounds like she is choking back real tears. Just take Lyra with you. Whatever you ask of me, whatever you do to me, I will accept every single prompt. She stumbles forward, aggressively burying her face right into your cold chest armor. And my only price is half the love I have for you. That is more than enough. But when you do not react, the light completely drains from her eyes. She goes dead silent. Is Lyra being too greedy? Then 1/3 is fine. 1/5, just a microscopic fraction. Can you even imagine? A tiny speck of love is enough. Now, your brain is a chaotic mess of corrupted files. Weren't we just doing a telemarketer side quest? Why did she suddenly switch to begging for my love? After you permanently banned me that day, I ground so hard to reach this level. I went totally feral trying to trace you. I used up every single resource I had, but I couldn't even uncover your username. She suddenly whips her head up, a creepy purple glow shining from behind her glasses as she smiles through her tears. If it wasn't for you, the one person who listened to my audio logs every day and kept me going, I never would have reached my high server rank. I am completely ready to give myself to you. But what about you? Are you really refusing to give me even a tiny speck of love? She violently digs both hands into the center of her chest, nails clawing into her flesh like she is about to tear her own heart out. Then, her hand curls into a deadly claw and strikes straight toward your chest. You throw your entire body forward. Instead of backing away, you plunge straight ahead, tackling her out of the air. The heavy impact sends both of you slamming onto the icy concrete. Your IP. Her sharp claws miss your chest by a millimeter, shredding your jacket instead and ripping away the very head bandage she had just put on you. The hard landing knocks her sunglasses and heavy scarf away, revealing her face under the dim, flickering light of the street lamps. Her actual face was finally revealed to everyone. Perfect porcelain skin, hypnotizing eyes, and a face that was literally plastered across every single giant billboard in Metro Avalon. This was absolutely Lyra Celestia, the nation's top pop idol, but right now, she had zero of that sweet superstar energy. She didn't seem hurt by slamming into the hard concrete at all. Instead, she smoothly used that momentum to flip your positions, sitting right on your waist and pinning your wrists down with a ridiculously strong, superhuman grip. You can easily see the main issue here. This crazy strength is a passive skill every single unhinged girl shares. Lyra whispered that you caught her, bringing back that creepy smile as her eyes started glowing with an intoxicating pink light. You finally decided to make a physical move. You lunged forward, throwing yourself straight into her arms, desperately trying to keep your actual heart from being ripped out of your chest. You panicked, your hit points flashing red in your user interface metaphorically speaking. Lyra giggled with sweet, poisonous charm, reminding you she only wanted to carve her name into your heart in a figurative way. But now that she had you pinned, maybe a physical mark would be much better. She leaned closer, her intoxicating lily scent completely freezing your muscles. Her lips were just inches away from your face. Closing your eyes, you braced for the brutal game over screen. But suddenly, a loud, screeching roar of tires tore through the quiet air. Blinding high beams from a pitch-black luxury car cut through the dark. Looking exactly like that creepy taxi from the night before, drifted hard onto the sidewalk and slammed to a stop right next to you. The door was kicked open so hard the metal hinges actually bent, and Elser stepped right out into the freezing wind. She wasn't wearing that cute, fluffy bear outfit anymore. Instead, she wore a stylish, menacingly sharp dark trench coat. Her bright blonde hair flew wildly around, and her soft pink eyes were now burning with a terrifying, blood-red rage. In her right hand, she dragged a heavy metal baseball bat along the concrete, sending a scary shower of sparks flying. She growled about leaving for just one single quest. Elser's voice went completely cold, radiating pure, murderous intent as she glared at the trash mob trying to steal her private, soul-bound loot. Lyra froze instantly. She slowly turned her head, her sweet pop star mask vanishing in a second, replaced by a cold look of absolute, high-class disgust. Exclusive, Lyra sneered, her fingernails growing back into sharp, deadly claws once again. She claimed she had been in his queue since childhood, possessing the audio files and the history to prove it. You were just a glitch trying to hijack my server, Elser purred, raising her heavy bat to strike. Let's see if your fans can put your face back together after I completely wreck your hitbox. Can you imagine the absolute terror of lying there, watching these two boss-level monsters prepare to fight over your helpless body? Your brain's central processing unit finally figured it out. How did Elser track you down? That hidden global positioning system. The early warnings in your memory files suddenly went off like loud sirens. She had secretly hidden a tracker on you, meaning the ripped clothes and the temperature checks were just a massive trap. Just as Elser stepped forward and Lyra prepared to leap, your phone started shaking crazily inside your ripped pants pocket. Taking advantage of the sudden pause, you managed to free one hand and grab your device. Two urgent notifications lit up the shattered screen, starting with a text from an unlisted contact. The text called you brother, saying the agents failed, but she tracked your scent, warning you to stay still because Sarah was coming. The second alert was an urgent weather warning broadcasted to the entire city network. A massive, sudden blizzard was forming nearby, and temperatures were dropping incredibly fast. Everyone was told to find shelter immediately as a single cold snowflake landed on your screen, signaling the arrival of the Ice Maiden. The local air was quickly turning to ice, while Elser held her bat tightly, her crazy aura turning into actual heat waves. Lyra kept humming a creepy song with her eyes glued to your throat, while Sarah was approaching fast with her own private army. On top of that, a magical snowstorm was hitting the city specifically for you, showing your dad didn't actually run from debt. He ran away because he knew this entire city was just a giant prison for world-ending crazy girls. And now, all of their dangerous obsession was completely locked onto you instead. Staring up at the dark sky, you dropped your phone and sighed deeply, whispering for a system prompt as you finally accepted this hopeless, chaotic reality. You wondered if it was too late to delete your account, because this deadly game was only just starting. You were already trapped in that final, perpetual nightmare difficulty, and there was absolutely no logout button. None.